Hey, what's up? This is Anthony with AGT Exotics, and today we're going to finish up our soil mix for our naturalistic tarantula enclosures. What it's going to be, it's going to be our version of an ABG mix, which is Atlanta Botanical Gardens, and their mix is basically a bunch of items that break down at different rates that are organic and promote plant growth and bioorganisms that help break down the matter, like isopods and springtails, which will help reduce the waste and pretty much reduce the waste in the enclosure and help the plants grow good. And so what we're going to be using is a repi bark, which is a fir bark, hardwood lump charcoal, sphagnum moss, some eco earth, and some peat moss, and then also some oak leaf. It's going to be broken up and added in there. This will be food for the isopods and stuff like that. Alright, we're going to get this all mixed up in a big tub, and we'll show you how we're going to do it. Alright, let's get started on our mix. We already have our sphagnum moss in here. We're going to get it wet. We've got 1 part sphagnum moss. I always use distilled water with all my critters and plants. Seems to work good. Oh, yeah, fill this thing back up. So you want to start off with this a little bit wet, or it will absorb a lot of the moisture in the other items. Alright, we got 1 part sphagnum moss. Now we're going to add 1 part peat moss. It's still got some big clumps in I need to break up. There's another one. A couple sticks and stuff in there. Actually, that's okay. It cause no problems. It's organic mix anyway. Alright, let's get a 1 part cocoa fiber. Or eco earth. And this is just freshly made. So it's still pretty wet. Alright, now we're going to do the usual mix is 2 parts bark. I'm going to take a look see how one looks in there, I guess. Yeah, I might just go with the 1. Only too much bark in there. And now we got our lump charcoal. I'm going to do a half a part. That happened to be perfect. And a half part oak leaf. Crushed up pretty good so it breaks down. It spreads out everywhere. Alright, now we're going to mix this up. Smells nice. Nice and earthy. And then you take a look at it if you feel you're missing something or it looks like you need to add something else, you know, there's too much of one thing, then add more of the other items. I think I should have broke these leaves up a little bit more. Alright, that's starting to look pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it just the way it is. I'm liking the way that is. That's nice. Alright, so that's our mix mixed up. Now we're going to move on to start adding in the drainage layer in our enclosures.
Oh yeah, before I get going on this, I want to let you guys know about a little bit of an adjustment I made. So with this locking mechanism, when it was locked, there was like, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch of play still. And so it would stay opened about like that much. It could easily open up to like that. And I don't know if they could squeeze through there, but what I did to fix that was out of the scraps cut over, or left over I should say, I glued it 3 times thick pieces behind there, which made it perfectly. And that's so it's 3/10 of an inch, and now it locks right behind it and there's zero play. It's perfect. Alright, so what we're going to be using here is this hydrotone expanded clay pellets for our drainage layer. It's fairly lightweight and it's going to give us a nice layer where the water can sink down past the soil so that it doesn't get bogged out and soggy. Alright. So we're going to have to do another couple containers full of this, I believe, for this to fit in here. To fill up to how much we're going to use. Maybe one of those was perfect. So you want to make sure you rinse this stuff off before you use it. It's full of dust from them shipping it and stuff like that. Let's see. I think
I think that's pretty good. It's about an inch. I think I'm going to add a little bit more. I'll be right back with that, a little bit more. Alright, we got about half as much again. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do that. So a container and a half is what I'm going to use of this. Alright, now once that's in there, now you're going to put what's going to divide your substrate from your drainage layer, and I'm going to use some fiberglass screen. Just gotta mess with it until you get it right. Alright, let's start adding some mix in there. This will help hold it down as well. I'm already making a mess. All right. That's basically the starts of it here. I think I'm going to position the camera a little differently, and we'll start positioning some of the plants and other things like that. Actually, we're going to have to prepare the plants. We still need to take them out of their pots and break them up and clean off all the roots and all the existing soil that came with them, and make sure we clean the plants good to not bring any bugs into these new clean environments. Alright, so I'm going to start that process and we'll start doing that. Alright, we got our plants all washed and the roots separated and kind of an idea of where I'm going to put them. And our cork bark piece, that's going to be our hide for our rufilata. And let's position this where we can work on it a little bit cleaner. Let's see. Maybe like that. Alright, so the idea is to have this, I'm thinking, right around there. So I want to plant around that. Get this into position to where it needs to be. So let's see here. out the spot for the cork bark that's going to go in there. And let's start planting around the back side here. I want to use some of these larger pieces of parlor palm in there. Let's see. And also I want to use this larger, what's it called, white butterfly. Put that in the back corner on this side. I'm going to add more substrate in on these after I'm done getting these in place. This is just to kind of get it in there. Alright. Let's see if we can get some more of this larger piece of parlor palm in there. Yeah, let's get it on the side here. Next to the other one. Kind of get a wall of it going on the side here. Start planting these up a little bit better, get some more substrate in behind them. Alright, actually I think it's time to put the cork in. I'm gonna make sure I get it in while I still have enough room to put more substrate around and pack it in place, make sure it doesn't fall. I'm kind of leaning it forward a bit so it makes a nice shadowing that goes over the hole and we can see inside a little bit easier. Okay, I'm going to reposition this further to the back. Realize that will be more attractive in the end. Let's get a bunch of this substrate behind it. There we go. Where I had it initially there, I was going to have to put a lot of substrate in the front of it to hold it in place, and that was going to start really encroaching over the front edge here too much. So if I set it back a bunch, it'll be a little bit nicer. We also have to plant this top pot here. Forgot about that. That'll be easy. Alright, I'm going to start putting in some of these little ivies. This ivy turned out to have like 15 pieces in it, so we're going to be able to use a lot of these throughout the enclosure. Now we're going to leave a front section here for my water dish. And let's see here. The water dish would be right around there, so we could still put a lot more in here. Let's do... I'll be right back. I have to clean up one of these baby's tears. We'll put a baby's tears right there in the front. Alright, I'm back with the cleaned up baby's tears. We're going to put that in this little front area right here. This will vine all over the open ground in the front here. Make a nice ground cover. Let that relax there. Cool. Let's see, let's put a couple more of these parlor palms. We got a lot of them. I guess I could save a few for another project. This front wall here. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. I think we're going to go with that right there. Here, let's bring the... Let's make it a little... There we go. Let's see if I can bring this light over to it properly without causing a big deal. You can kind of see how it will look when it's lit up. It's a little bit bright, but this is the 50 watt. The other one's going to be the 20 watt. Alright, let's take some pictures of it. Oh, I almost forgot again. Still have to plant the back. I got a little pot, if you remember, attached to the back here. I should have filled it first. Alright, there we go. It's got about halfway full. Now I'm just going to take my little spider plant I'm going to put in there. I'm going to kind of encase it in soil in our mix here. Just try to shove it in there and see if I can plant it like this. Yeah. There we go. It will root up in there nicely.
Hopefully it won't get too big right there. That's okay, we'll keep it trimmed. Alright, now once I mist down all this stuff, all the leaves will get cleaned off. Look a little nicer. Alright, that seems stable enough. Alright, final step on housing the rufilata in this naturalistic tarantula enclosure is we're going to seed it with springtails and isopods. Here's our springtails. You can kind of see them jumping everywhere when I pour it. Let's put a little more. There we go. Now our isopods. We've got these isopods here. These are speckled gray isopods. They're a larger isopod. You can see them already from a distance. Kind of get them spread out a little bit everywhere. I want to leave the rest of these for this enclosure. Might as well seed this enclosure right now as well. Let's do it. So here's the isopods for this enclosure. There we go. And let's get some springtails in there as well. We're going to do this one in a couple days probably. Just because it just molted. But it's looking pretty good already and walking around. The metallica too. Our larger metallica. Maybe 6 inches now. It's just, I don't know, 5.5 inches. It just molted. It's pretty monstrous looking. Alright, so those are seeded. Now we'll move on to the housing. Alright, let's move our Poecilotheria rufilata, our only confirmed female. And she is big. She's my largest T as well. Lots of firsts, I guess, for this one for me. So let's remove the water dish. So this tea is way too big for this container. It molted. It was too big for this container. I spent a long time trying to find an enclosure for it. Finally decided what I was going to do, and it took me even longer to do it. But I think it was like 2 months. And then she molted again on me, so that's why she is so darn big. I would never normally want to keep an animal this large and something this small purposefully. Alright. Gosh, she's so fast. I've got a good grip on this. Alright. That was the most important part, getting that out of there. Okay. Now let's get her to get into this cup. Wow, she's beautiful. What a beautiful tea. It's right where I can't get it with this little container. in this tool I'm using. Let's see. Come on. Oh. It's never been defensive at all or aggressive. Okay, here we go. Come on. Alright, I got the hole positioned. Let's see if I can get her to choose to take it. It should be a nice dark hole. Be in this brown root beer container. Oh, here we go. Alright. Alright, let's get our other cardboard. Okay, we got her in there. Camera almost dead. Let's position this. Here, I'm gonna reposition the camera and we'll house her in the other enclosure. Okay. Now, what I want to do is try to get the tea from the bottle straight into the enclosure, into its hide versus this tea enclosure, because the metallica is still out there trying to just walking around. So let's see here. So I'm gonna position the rufilata into its new hide, and get it to come out. Still no threat posture. Beautiful. All right. It backed right up into its new hide. I'm gonna give some shaky footage and get in there close. There she is. All right, here's our second enclosure that we're doing, and we're already on to the adding in the vision layer. Let's see. I think maybe I cut it to go this way. Nope. All right. Alright, like before, we're just going to start adding a big handful of substrate right in the middle to kind of start holding it down, and we'll work it towards the corners, and it will start holding it down.
the super glue string I missed. Got it. Alright, now this is going to be this is my larger P metallica, Poecilotheria metallica. So it doesn't need such a big hide like the other one was for my rufilata. So we'll probably go for something along those lines up here in the front. We'll plant a lot in the back. Alright, let's position this where this will be. We've got to leave room for a water dish though in the front corner. There we go. What was that? There you go. All right. So let's get the back planted. I think I'm going to put this one in the front. Let's see. Put this one over here in the back, on this corner. Now I'll get tall pretty quick. Get this palm in the back here. Start planting this side with these palms. Let's get this whole side run with them. Yeah. Kind of put some down over here too. Last one I did, I kept on trying to get substrate behind, so this way I'm going to get a bunch of it back there first. And then adjust it from there. Alright, so kind of want this one to be at an angle. So it blocks the light from the top. You know what? This plant's not going to fit if I put it in the front here. I don't think. I have to adjust this a little bit. Let's see. kind of turn it to the side a bit. Yeah, I'm liking that a little better. I'll give some room for this right here. Let's get these palms spread out a bit. Can fill in more of the back wall. Alright, let's get this one in here. Oh, that's a cool looking plant right there. Really hope it takes off in here. You never really know what's going to live and what's going to die, so you just plant and hope for the best, and then, because really you're caring about the tea more than anything, so you're going to adjust your watering schedule for the animal, not the plants. So you just kind of, that's why I got a bunch of things in here too, to hopefully find something that grows good and figures it out. Alright. I think I'm going to put a couple more of these little guys back here. Oh, my dog wants back in. He's jealous because I'm playing in the dirt. He's not. Alright, I got some ivies left over still. That's about it. I think we're going to use some of these for the other enclosure as well. Let's get another one of these little palms in the front here. Oh, I didn't balance this one before planting. That's alright. Alright, now let's add another baby tears right here. Do a real nice ground cover. Alright, I'll be right back. I need to go clean that one off. Alright, I decided to use the one of these baby tears that has a spider plant growing with it. So maybe if it gets a low light, it won't get too big. There we go. That'll be cool. That should grow good there. Alright, that leaves room for a water dish. And that's pretty much it on that one. I actually have some Tillandsia air plants, and I'm going to come back through and hot glue some of them, maybe to around the bark here and to the back wall on both of the enclosures. I'm not sure if I'll do that right now, but maybe in a little bit. So let's take some pictures of this one and we can see how this one looks. Alright, let's house Metallica 2, our big Poecilotheria metallica. I think it's pushing 5 inches. Alright, let's get the bark out of there and the water dish. Water dishes out. Okay. Boom.
bark out. Now let's work on getting the T out. Go for our larger one. This is a pretty rough fit here. Purposefully, it's pretty hard to get in there so that it won't fall out during the housing. There we go. Okay. Let's work on getting it into the container. This one just molted, so I don't want it to freak out too much. This one doesn't have the bottom holes because this is one of my first ones I did. It's going to be a little bit more tricky. Alright. A little more of the challenge with this one. That's alright. Let's try leaving a little room on the side here so I can get the brush. There we go. This one will strike, and I don't want it to do any of that at all because it still has kind of wet fangs a little bit, not too much. Let's poke from the other side. Oh, here we go. Not having these, usually have 3 holes at the bottom here. Not having those holes is really making this difficult. Alright, so let's keep trying. Trying to get it up to the top, I guess. Sorry for the dogs barking in the background. It's the neighbor's dog. This thing is really fighting a lot. There we go. Come on. There we go. Come on. All right.
That took a little while. And it's pretty hot in my room right now. Alright, now let's get this one into its new enclosure. Let's try to gently get it to go into its new hide. Alright. There we go.